morning, boys and girls. This is your Language Arts e-learning lesson for Monday, April 13th. We're going to begin with grammar, and that's going to be our subject-verb agreement review. Subject-verb agreement. Now, with subject-verb agreement, what we mean by that is that if the subject of our sentence is singular, then the verb must also be singular in order for them to agree. And one of the ways you know that, honestly, is by how it sounds to you, because you speak correctly and so you hear how it sounds. Okay, let's take a look at some examples on the board. So here we have, the driver trains his dog team. So the subject of the sentence is driver, and what does the driver do? He trains his dog team. Driver trains. This is subject-verb agreement. The subject of the sentence, driver, is singular, therefore we need to use what we call a singular verb. Now, even though this ends with an S, okay, this is considered singular because it agrees with the singular verb. The driver trains his dog team. We wouldn't say the driver trained his dog team. We say the driver trains. That's our subject-verb agreement. The next sentence, he teaches one dog to lead. Okay, we're talking about he, okay, he what? He teaches. Okay, again, we don't say he teach, we say he teaches. He is singular, and so our verb teaches is also singular. He studies his map. He, what does he do? He studies. Again, he is singular, studies is also singular. Now I want to stop there for a minute and let's take a look. Notice that these three verbs, trains, teaches, and studies, end with S. Okay. Notice that this is a type of verb that you simply just add S. But here, teach, because teach ends with CH, we add the ES. Remember, just like with the nouns, if it ends in S, SH, CH, X, or Z, we add an ES. So it's teaches with an ES. And then he studies. Well, this also has an ES, but you do know that the word study would be STUDY. But because there's a consonant, a letter that's not a vowel before the Y, we must change that Y to an I and we add ES. And so it's he studies, and that's IES. So again, we're looking at that subject-verb agreement. If subject is singular, the verb must also be singular. However, sometimes we're just adding an S. We still have to follow the same rules for adding ES, and we have to follow the same rules for changing Y to I and adding ES. The next sentence, the dogs pull the sleds. So we're talking about the dogs. The dogs do what? Pull. Well, dogs is plural, more than one. So we say the dogs pull, and pull is considered plural as well. We don't say the dogs pulls, we say the dogs pull. Subject-verb agreement. Next sentence, the driver and his team travel far. Well, who are we talking about here? You might say the driver. Well, in this case, we have a compound subject. We're not just talking about the driver, we're saying the driver and his team. So it's the driver and his team. Each of those are singular, however, they're now combined. Okay, we have that compound. So now we're saying the driver and his team travel. If it was just driver, okay, when it was just driver, we added an S. So here, if it was just driver, we would say the driver travels far. We would have singular and singular. But we have a compound subject. It's two. It's driver and his team. So therefore, we say travel and not travels. Okay. They work together. They do what? They work. Work is plural, and so our verb must also be plural. They work. We don't say they works. Okay. And then I like your report on dogs. I what? I like. Singular. Okay. And singular here. I like your report on dogs. But we don't say I likes. Over here we say the driver, naming one, the driver trains. But here we don't say I likes with I, we just say like. Okay, I like your report on dogs. And then same thing here, we have you what? You write. So even though in this case the I is singular because the I means one, we're using what we consider to be the plural. I like, not I likes. We would say the dog likes, dog is singular, okay, and then likes would be singular, the dog likes. But here with the pronoun I, we say I like, not I likes. And then with you, you know, if you remember, you know that you can refer to just one person or more than one. I can be talking to just one of you, or I can be talking to all of you. Either way, I would say you write well. Okay? So here, you write, even if you is singular, write is still plural. So we're still using you write whether it's one person or more than one. Okay? Alright, so again, driver trains. And even though these verbs have those S's, which usually make us think plural when we have S's, but when we're talking about the subject-verb agreement, we say it's singular because it's being used with the singular subject. Okay, so the driver trains, he teaches, he studies. Dogs pull, driver and his team travel, that compound subject. They work, I like, you write. Okay. Again, that I and the you, even though they can both be singular, we are using the plural form of the verb. Okay. Again, that being a review of subject-verb agreement, what I would like you to work on today is page 143 in your textbook. And we just go there, take a look at that, 143. The first section tells you to write whether the subject and the verb in each sentence are singular or plural. So what you would do is look at your sentences and then you would tell, are they singular or plural? Okay, so in this case, the driver trains. We know the driver is singular, so we do consider this verb as singular. So then you would just have to write that it's singular. Okay, if we were doing this one, he teaches one dog to lead. He is singular. He teaches is singular. Okay? All right, so all you need to do is you don't need to rewrite your sentences there. You just need to write singular or plural, indicating whether that subject and verb are singular or plural. In the middle of the page, you're asked to use the correct present tense form of the verb in parentheses. So if in this case, for example, if your sentence was this, the driver blank his dog team, and in parentheses you had the word train, then on the blank you would just need to write the form of train that you would use. The driver train or the driver trains. We've already done this one, so you know that the correct answer is trains. That's subject-verb agreement, singular, singular. So all you need to do in the middle, even though it says write each sentence, you don't need to write the sentence. You only need to write the correct present tense verb that you would use. And then the last section, it says if the subject and verb agree in number, you write correct. And if they do not, then you need to write it correctly. So again, let's use one of these sentences here. Okay, he studies his math. Okay, that is correct. So then on your paper, you would just write correct. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to change that one. Let's do this. Okay, the dogs pulls the sleds. Okay, well in this case you know that this sentence is not correct because we would not say the dogs pulls the sleds. So what you would have to do in this case, on this particular one, you would then rewrite this sentence so that it would be written correctly, and you would write the dogs pull the sleds. So if your sentence in the last section on page 143, if your sentence is correct, you simply write the word correct. If it is not correct, then you must rewrite it so that it will be correct. So the only time you need to do any sentence writing is when you are correcting an incorrect sentence at the bottom of the page. Okay, there are 15 to complete on page 143.